I never thought I'd be typing this, but my wife just gambled away our house. We've been married for nearly 8 years. In all that time, I thought we had a pretty stable life. Nothing flashy, just the usual struggles, paying the bills, planning for the future, and keeping up with the everyday grind. But apparently that wasn't the full picture. There was something going on behind the scenes, something I hadn't seen coming. The first clue came in the form of an envelope. I was going through the usual pile of mail, mostly junk and a couple of bills, when I saw a letter with a return address from our mortgage lender. At first, I didn't think much of it. Maybe they'd made a mistake with the payment, or maybe it was just a routine notice. I opened it up, and my stomach dropped. It wasn't routine at all. The letter was a formal notice informing us that we were 3 months behind on our mortgage payments. 3 months? That couldn't be right. I checked our account, and sure enough, the last payment had gone through more than 90 days ago. I was confused. We had enough money in the account to cover it, or at least I thought we did. I immediately called the bank. The person on the other end of the line confirmed what I'd already seen. No payments had been made for the last 3 months. The confusion quickly turned into something darker. I knew I hadn't missed any payments, so I began to wonder if someone had tampered with the account. I hung up the phone, and that's when the full reality began to sink in. I started looking through the account history, and that's when I noticed it. Several large withdrawals over the past few months. They weren't for groceries or bills, and they definitely weren't for any big household expenses we'd discussed. The amounts ranged from a few hundred to a few $1,000s at a time, all disappearing in one go. The pattern was unmistakable. Something was draining our savings fast. The more I looked, the clearer it became. My wife had been quietly withdrawing money, but not for anything normal or necessary. It was going to online gambling sites, places I didn't even know she had access to. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. Maybe her account had been hacked, or maybe there was some kind of fraud going on. But as I kept digging, it became impossible to ignore the truth. The gambling transactions were all tied to her personal account. The missing money, the weird gaps in our savings, it was all pointing back to her. And the mortgage, that was just the tip of the iceberg. I confronted her that night. It wasn't the kind of screaming match you might expect. It started much quieter, with me laying out what I'd found. At first, she acted like she didn't know what I was talking about. She claimed it must be a mistake, some kind of error with the bank. But I wasn't buying it. I pressed her, showing her the withdrawals, the gambling sites. That's when her defenses started to crack. She admitted she'd been gambling, but she tried to downplay it like it wasn't a big deal. It's just a hobby, she said. Something to pass the time. She made it sound like she was spending a few bucks here and there for fun. But that didn't explain why our mortgage hadn't been paid, why our savings had been drained, or why there were thousands of dollars unaccounted for. As I kept pushing, she finally let more slip. It wasn't just a small habit. She'd been gambling online for months, hoping to win big and fix everything. She said it started small, but as time went on, she began betting more, convinced she could turn it around. But instead of winning, she kept losing, and every time she lost, she doubled down, hoping to make it back. That's how she gambled away the house. It was surreal, hearing her say those words out loud. She hadn't meant to, she said. She thought she could win enough to cover the mortgage, but instead, she dug us deeper into a hole. I didn't know what to say at first. My mind was racing, trying to process it.